welcome to the Fantasy Football Fix. I am Richard from the Dipsy Dudes, and by God, what an awful week game week 12 was. Points were few and far between, so if you manage to dig deep and find yourself some points, well done to you. You must have worked very hard to get them. So before we look ahead, let's look back at game week 12's quote-unquote dream team, quote-unquote, end quote. Quote. It's a classic 3-5-2 fantasy formation, and look at this bundling together of randoms. I know I've talked before about having unique players who are different from the usual players that everyone else seems to have, but seriously, this is ridiculous. Up top, we find two strikers who are selected by 1.1% of managers put together. If you did have them though, Dwight Gale haunted Liverpool once again with a goal, assist and maximum bonus points, while alongside him, Danny Ings had a breakout performance with a brace and a bonus. In the midfield, Crystal Palace again get a mention, with Balassi getting 2 assists and a deuce bonus. Osman and Sissoko both got a goal and full bonus. Hazard kept up his great form with 11, and Eriksen was the star man with a goal, assist and maximum bonus points. Eriksen is the ultimate feast or famine player. I'm a fan of Eriksen, but I'll admit he is feast or famine. He's scored 4 times this season, and in those 4 games he's scored, he's got great points. He's got 9, 10, 11 and 13 points respectively in those games. However, in the other 9 games, he's got anywhere between 0 and 3 points. Proper thanks for playing consolation points. It is feast or famine for the former Ajax man. At the back, it was clean sheets and bonus points ranging from 3 to 1 for the defenders, while Pantamon increased his overall season points by nearly 200%, rising to 14 points overall for the season. Okay, let's forget about game week 12. We'll wash it off, brush our shoulders, pop our collars, and look ahead to the players for your consideration for this next week. Right, we've got 2 game weeks in quick succession. Game week 13 is this weekend. Game week 14 starts Tuesday the 2nd of December, and because of this quick turnaround, we're going to look at teams and players to consider for both game weeks. It's all about long-term planning, people. All about the long term. If you're looking for a team to lump on this weekend and next midweek, look no further than Man United. They're at home in both games against Hull and Stoke. Hull haven't won away in 6 games, and Stoke have only got 8 points from a possible 18 from their last few away games, which is below bang average form. If you've got the money for them, look no further than Rooney and Di Maria. I know, an obvious shout, but you can't argue with either, in my opinion. Rooney is just coming off his most notable game of the season against Arsenal last weekend. He has finally taken his England form and brought it back to his club. Whereas Di Maria is still having consistent scores. They're not as outlandish and as big sexy points as they were at the start of the season, but he's still getting consistent points. He's still doing quite well. He's still in alright form. However, maybe it is time to get on David De Gea. He is in great shot-stopping form, and his form is actually parallel to Angel and Wayne's if you actually look at the form breakdown on Fantasy Football website. He's only had 1 clean sheet in the last 9 games though. I mean, he should have had another one last week, but he has made 17 saves in the past 4 games. He's an unbelievable form. If he had a firm defence in front of him, he would be the best goalkeeper in the league, bar none. I feel though at home against Hull and Stoke, he is worth getting into your team for the next 2 weeks. Though if you do need, say, a budget defender in the next 2 game weeks, maybe the player whose name I like to say in the form of a renegade cop, with me being his disgruntled captain, is the player for you. Damn it, McNair! I've got the mayor on my ass! Put your gun and your badge on the table! You're off the case, McNair! Huh? See? Another team who've got 2 home games in the next week are Swansea, who play Crystal Palace and QPR respectively. The Swans have won 4 in 6 at the Liberty, while QPR have lost 6 in their last 6 away games no matter where they're playing. Crystal Palace have done ever so slightly better by winning 1 in their last 6 away games. So they're small, so small a difference. Sigurdsson is still the most in-form outfield player that the Swans have, and is still in the overall dream team. So there is an obvious choice. You've also got Butter Boney, who has got 5 goals in 10 starts this season. So stats would say that he's going to score at least 1 goal in the next 2 games. You want even more proof? I'll give you more proof. In home games, he's played 6 and he's scored 3 goals at home. It's written in the stars that he's going to score in one of these next 2 weeks. Or should I say, written in the stats. Sorry, it's stars. Read it wrong. It is stars. Again though, if you're looking for some clean sheet action, look no further than the man between the sticks, Fabianski. He's in good form right now, which sees him as the 2nd highest point scoring goalie in the game today. He's had 5 clean sheets this season, and in his last 4 games, 18 saves, which again is a great return on saves, and I can see him adding to those saves and clean sheets over the next 2 game weeks. Burnley are coming off their best run of the season, 2 wins in a row, and now find themselves at Turf Moor for the next 2 games against Aston Villa and Newcastle. These 2 games are tougher than Man United and Swansea's double-headers, as Newcastle are in lightning form and Villa managed to grab a point against the Saints on Monday night. Will they keep clean sheets against these 2 teams? Well, Tom Heaton has been the surprise package in goal and keeps getting points a player in his position at that club should not be getting. He's the club's top point scorer, in fact. I think, though, it's going to take a big effort for him to keep those points ticking over in the next 2 game weeks. However, is now the time to dabble in Danny Ings. He showed great form last game week, and he is still only 5.7 million. If you need money elsewhere, maybe Ings could come in for someone like Danny Welbeck to free up to, what, 1.5 million for your team bank? Though to be honest, if you are looking for a cheap striker, Harry Kane is your man. Simple as that. Southampton's tricky period started early against Villa on Monday night. However, it truly starts this game week as they play host to Man City and then travel to the Emirates to face Arsenal on December 3rd. I've got to be honest, I think the Saints can hold their own against Man City and the Gunners, because neither of those 2 teams have been in brilliant form. What I think will change is that instead of 4 or 5 Saints players getting really good points every week, it's going to go down to maybe 1, 2, possibly 3 Saints players a week getting more than just appearance points. Thank you for playing consolation points. The place I see things deteriorating is in goal. Forster. I know he's done well, but whereas the rest of the defence is capable of getting points through attacking means, like Nathaniel Klein did on Monday night grabbing that goal, Forster hasn't got that to fall back on. Maybe he'll get a penalty save, but if you're hoping for that one, then woo, you're off with the fairies. I think this is the week to replace him. It's been a great run, but it is time to get off him. That's why I've been talking about De Gea. That's why I've been talking about Fabianski, and that's why I have mentioned Tom Heaton. It's time to get on one of these players, or the last goalkeeper I'd like you to consider. He's the most must-see, must-have goalkeeper in the game today, Krul. 4 clean sheets in the last 5 games, scoring 30 points altogether. Not really been getting the bonus points to reflect that good form, but the Newcastle goalie has been untouchable. The thing is, Newcastle have been playing really well, but they've got 2 tricky games coming up in the next 2 game weeks. They are away, both times, first to West Ham, and then they travel to Turf Moor to face Burnley. So I wonder where they're going. Krull for Forster is going from the frying pan into the fire. Maybe one of the other options. Though, if he is playing well, you got to go for form, right? Right, because we've got 2 game weeks in quick succession, players are going to get rested. That's a guarantee. I mean, are Chelsea going to remain unchanged as they play 4 times in League and Europe in the next 2 weeks? Hell, it's actually less than 2 weeks. Hell no, they're not going to remain unchanged. You've got to decide, will they rest Costa, Fabregas and Hazard in the same games? If they do, then who's it going to be against? Is it going to be away to Sunderland or home to Spurs? Maybe they'll wait that little bit longer and wait till the away game against Newcastle on December 6th. Drogba's going to get some game time. Schürrle's going to get some game time. Maybe even Cech in goal will be thrown back in to cover one of these games. It's just a matter of time. Same goes for Man United. Mata's going to get a start in one of these next 2 games, which means someone's going to drop out. Hull or Stoke, he's going to play against one of them. Will RVP be rested? Will they give James Wilson a go up front? What about Januzaj? Is he going to play? Of course he's got to play if they've got that quick a turnaround. But who's he going to play against? The only position there won't be changed for Man United is in defence, and we've already covered that. Will Man City, rest Aguero? I personally think they won't rest him in game weeks 13 or 14. I think that Man City will run Aguero into the ground to try and keep in touch with Chelsea at the top of the league. But is that going to deter his form? It's going to deteriorate, surely, if they just keep playing him and playing him and playing him and relying on him being the man to keep them in this league. You've got to be able to react and predict in the next 2 weeks, because what happens in game week 13 is going to directly affect what happens in game week 14. So keep an eye on what's going on. And if one of your guys isn't in 13, make sure your bench is right. But don't panic, chances are he'll be back in 14. If your guy plays in 13, you've got to seriously consider whether you'll take him out for a week just in case they rest him, especially if it's one of the big players, Costa, Hazard, Di Maria and so on. The Dipsy Dudes Divisional Championship. What a shambles from the teams at the top of the league. No one in the top 10 beating the Herbie rule. This meant it was as you were for the top 3 with Rentawag still on top. Special mention though to Tractor Girl, who got the highest points total of the week with 63 points thanks to 4 defensive clean sheets, Hazard top scoring and Kane grabbing goals. Look at that formation though. 5-2-3. Says it all about the past game week. Just says it all. Right, that's about it for this game week. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back next week to preview game week 15. Remember, if you like what you see, click the old like button, or to ensure that you get the latest Dipsy Dudes videos as soon as they're released, slap on the old subscribe button. Remember, we do have a social media presence as well as a discussion group at fiso.co.uk. All the links down below in the description, so get in there if you fancy joining us. But until next week, thank you again for joining us. Good luck with your teams. It is time to double down. It's a 13 and 14 sandwich. Boom.